F1 Videos, I'm Peter Loshak. This is the NFL segment of Into the Weekend with BetDSI, the call we do every week with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook. Right now we're looking ahead to NFL Week 12. Brent, thanks for being back with us.
All right, hit me, Peter.
All right, NFL Week 12. I'll tell you, there's a lot of sides this week that I thought were going to be big public sides. So my overall assumption is that you've gotten a lot of public action this week, and you've got a lot of games where you have lopsided public action. First one, let's start right out with Carolina-Miami, right? I have to assume that Carolina has become a big public team and that they're all over, that the public is all over Carolina here. Is that true or not?
Yeah, I mean, Carolina's the count's about 3-1 right now in favor of them. I would expect it to be a little bit higher, but if you count teasers and stuff like that, it gets up to like 8, 9, almost 10-1 in favor of Carolina. They're obviously a very popular side right now. It kind of goes ebbs and flows with teams, and obviously Carolina's on a big run right now. We've got them minus 4.5 at Miami. It's all square money we have on Carolina, and I haven't seen any sharp money back on Miami at this point either.
All right, so that's pretty telling then, because that was the other speculation. I was like, is Miami going to be one of these ugly home dogs that the Sharps like or not? So you're telling me as of right now they have not touched it.
Well, they might be ugly, but they're not getting any sharp money so far.
All right, that to me is kind of telling. That makes me think that maybe a bet on Carolina might not be the worst thing in the world then. And then another game that I have pegged as possibly a sharp public split game is Jets at Baltimore, right? Just because of how awful the Jets looked last week in Baltimore, still the defending champ. So I'm assuming that the public likes Baltimore and that the Sharps may have come in on the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a sharp public split if anybody came in on the Jets, and that just hasn't happened so far. I'm running 4 right now on Baltimore, and there's lots of 3.5s out there. But we took sharp money, Baltimore 3 minus 20, 3 minus 25. I had moneyline money, sharp money on Baltimore minus 180. Everything that I've had sharp so far has been on Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, basically we took 1 or 2 big bets on the Jets, but again, that's not sharp money at all. It was just money that kind of helped balance us out a little bit. So we don't have a huge decision at this point. By Sunday, I'm sure we're going to need the Jets, but that line might creep up. You might find a point where the Sharps do come in and take the Jets. But so far, I've seen nothing but sharp money on Baltimore when the line was 3 minus 20 and 3 minus a quarter.
And then Denver, New England, huge game. I'm sure that this game is going to just get a ton of volume, right? Probably the biggest volume game of the week, right?
Yeah, no, we'll get a ton of volume on that game for sure. The lines we got right now, Denver minus 2. New England actually, we're actually getting sharp money on New England, which I was kind of surprised. I wasn't sure if anyone would be backing them, but I do have obviously tons of public money on Denver, which is no surprise. The sharp money that did come on New England was plus 3 minus 120, so like buying from 2.5 and stuff like that. And actually, the line crept all the way up there. But right now, in terms of our count, it's about 2-1 in favor of Denver, but our money's dead even. That's because of the sharp action.
So then the public is overwhelmingly favoring Denver here.
Yeah, the public's all over Denver. Like I said, the count's about 2-1. Money's pretty close, though, because, again, it was sharp money.
Yeah, that's what I suspected, but I heard some other people saying that, no, anytime you give, like, Tom Brady as a home dog, the public will be attracted to that, but that's not the case here.
No, I think it's the whole Manning thing, too. I mean, Denver just looks better than New England, and I don't know. Denver scores a lot of points. It's kind of a team, a flashy team that people want to like. So, obviously, I've got a lot of over money, too, when you look at the count in terms of teasers and parlays and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, I mean, we're probably going to need, by kickoff time, we'll need New England and the under, but that's kind of typical of a Sunday night game. We'll need dog and under.
And the Sharps will be on New England as well.
Yep.
All right, and then from the rest of the card, what can you tell us about notable sharp public action?
Got sharp money on Jacksonville, Houston over. Jacksonville's a 10-point favorite at home. Total now is 43.5. I had sharp action go over the 42.5. That's kind of an ugly-looking game, but hey, they'll bet it anyway if they find value. Minnesota at Green Bay, again, that's kind of an ugly-looking game, but I did see sharp money on the side, and surprisingly enough, it was on Minnesota. They took the Vikings plus 4.5. Right now, we're running Green Bay minus 4, total of 43.5, but the plus 4.5 was sharp action on Minnesota. And I mean, I got a ton of games now that we're just pretty much balanced on. I don't have a ton of sharp public splits, not a whole bunch of games where the public's all over one side. I mean, Pittsburgh's at Cleveland, that's a balanced game. Chicago, St. Louis is pretty much balanced. I've just got tons of teasers now on Carolina, Baltimore, Detroit, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and of course the San Fran. That's on Monday night. San Fran's at Washington. That's going to probably be a real strong public side. San Francisco. Sharps haven't come on that one yet, but the public is all over San Francisco.
Right, that's what I was thinking. That was one of the sides I thought. I was thinking maybe Oakland and maybe St. Louis would be sides that the public would favor, but that's not actually the case. So you're saying that you're basically more balanced than one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, the Tennessee-Oakland game, for example, just not a high dollar volume game at this point. I mean, the count is almost 2-1 in favor of Tennessee, but that's not a ton of money. And if you factor teasers into it, they're kind of going both ways. I mean, yeah. Oakland's are either a pick or +1 right now. So you do 6.5, 7-point teaser, you're getting over the +7.5. So we're pretty much balanced on that stuff. And again, there's ugly games like Tampa Bay at Detroit that just don't really excite many people on paper. Yeah. San Diego at Kansas City still got public money all over Kansas City. That's one that's probably about 3 or 4-1 in favor of Kansas City. But again, that's mostly teasers and parlays. Mm-hmm. Straight's about 2-1 in favor of Kansas City. So it's not a huge decision. I don't have respectable sharp money on on San Diego, taking them to 4 or 4.5. But I definitely public money on Kansas City. But other than that, just not a whole lot other than what we touched on already.
So then it seems like, just to answer this for about 10 seconds, it seems like in general this week there's a little bit less sharp action than in weeks past in both college and NFL.
Yeah, I would say that's true. And I don't know if like I said, we talked about that last week, kind of the same thing. Maybe our lines are getting sharper. Maybe the public's not carrying a line, driving a line in one direction either to make it more attractive for the sharps. But yeah, that seems to be the case the last 2 weeks, Peter.
All right, Brent, once again, thanks so much. And thanks so much for all the hard work you put in for this show every week. Everyone really appreciates it. It's by far our most popular show that we do at SBR. Thanks so much, Brent. Talk to you again next week.